Always just go ahead and mute yourselves. Michelle, please don't mute yourself because I need you. All right, so I'm just going to get into this. My name is Ann. You may or may not know. I want to just share a very small version of my story, just so that you understand the importance of working your business through the hard times, no matter what happens. I've been a coach for, it'll be 2 years in March, and full-time since December. Still not making a full-time income, but getting there. And I feel like this last year, I finally understood how to work my business. So now going into 2016, I have a very set game plan, which is ultimately what I'm sharing with you guys. My ex-husband and I decided in June to get divorced. August, I moved out. October, we were officially divorced. And I had a month and a half where my business spiraled downward. My income was the lowest it had been in a very long time. And it was ultimately because I wasn't doing the things every day that I needed to do. I dove in deep to personal development, but beyond that, I couldn't find a system that worked for me to keep moving my business forward. And what ultimately happened was it took 3 months for me to get my income back to where it was before that downward spiral. So when I say work your business no matter what, the consequences are extreme if you don't work your business no matter what. So here we go. The first thing that you have to get set before anything else is your mindset. You have to have confidence in yourself, and you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in the business. You have to believe in the opportunity. You just have to have so much belief, even if it doesn't feel like you have it, then you have to fake it till you make it. Because the only way for others to have that confidence in you is if you have that confidence in yourself. One thing that I did that Lauren recommended, which I thank her for, is to put affirmations up on my wall. And so when my income was spiraling out of control, I had all kinds of affirmations on my wall that were positive affirmations that focused on my income growing. So it's so easy to focus on what's not going right in your business, and you have to focus on where you want your business to go. Because if you are constantly focused on what's not happening, you will have more of that. So I had affirmations up and still have them up. I'm making $1,000 a week. I'm not, but that's where I'm moving towards. My strong leg is growing. It now is starting to grow. I have money to travel. I have money to pay my bills. I didn't believe those things when I put them up on my cupboards, but reading them every single day, I have started to attract that life. I have manifested that life. And so whether you think it works or doesn't work, it works. Like, I can't explain it. I can't explain, and I'm echoing. So mute yourself, guys. I can't explain why it works or how it works. I just know that it works. I know that it has not hurt my business by believing in the positivity. So that's the first thing, is your mindset. When it comes to your business hours, first of all, you need to have business hours. And I know that you've heard this probably a million times, but you need to have business hours that you can stick to. You cannot create business hours around what you hope your life will be. You have to be realistic about what your life is, what your schedule is, and then create your business around that. So if you can only do an hour, you can do your power hour in an hour. There's no reason for it to take any longer than an hour. So if that's what you have, make it work. I do this full time, but I still only have like 2 hours maybe for my power hour and 2 hours for my team. That's 4 hours a day, and I'm working full time. And this is my full-time job. When I started out, I was working 50 hours a week, and I built my business on 1 to 2 hours a day. So it's totally possible, but you have to make that commitment. And yes, you will have to sacrifice things in your life. You will. I didn't watch as much TV. I still don't watch as much TV. I had to say no to certain things because I knew that it was a short-term sacrifice for long-term freedom. And that if that's what you want, then you have to make the sacrifices, and you have to have a no excuses, no matter what attitude. You have to stick to your schedule, whether you're at home or whether you're traveling. And I hear a lot of people say, but my family's in town, or I'm going to go visit family, or whatever the case may be. Life is going to happen around you because that's what happens. It doesn't slow down. But when I go home to visit my parents understand that I have a business to run. And so if I have a Zoom with my team at 9 o'clock, then I have a Zoom with my team at 9 o'clock. It doesn't matter if I'm in Chicago or if I'm in Iowa visiting family. It's my business, and I treat it like a business. I just want to make sure. I was like, oh my God, did I record? I like all of a sudden freaked out that I didn't start recording. So,
and will you post the meeting ID? People who are on their phone can't get on if they don't have the ID thing.
Okay.
So I don't know if somebody wants to copy and.
Michelle, can you do that when I keep talking?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, so whether you're home, whether you're traveling, the opportunity of this business is that it gives you freedom. It doesn't give you freedom on day one. It doesn't usually give you freedom in the first year or even maybe the first 2 years. So you can't treat your business in the beginning like someone who's been in it for 5 years and has that freedom. You have to understand that it's like an airplane taking off. You have to put in a lot of effort at the beginning to get it up to the point where you can coast a little bit. You can't have the back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. If you're not consistent, you will not see consistent results. Let me just check my notes. So you have to work the business 5 to 6 days a week consistently, no matter what, no excuses. Right now I work about 5 days a week, but what I do is that I do enough invites so that it makes up for the days that I take off. So for instance, let's say I'm doing 3 challenge group invites and it's Friday and I'm taking Saturday, Sunday off. I do 9 challenge group invites on Friday, so that makes up for my 3 on Saturday, my 3 on Sunday, and that stuff is working over the weekend when I'm not working. And then on Monday, I know that has already happened, and then I can go through and do my follow-ups and my reconnects. So you have to commit to 5 to 6 days a week, no matter what, and put in the time on the front end for that 1 day or 2 days that you do decide to take off. When you treat your business like a business, it feels less like a job. So I know that a lot of us have spent time at the end of the month. I know a lot of you probably just felt that pushing for Success Club, and you're trying to pull people and drag people and like give incentives and do all this stuff. But if you treat your business like a business and set boundaries and put in the consistent work and know that it's okay to walk away from people who aren't ready, because there's an abundance of people who need your help. If you start living in abundance versus scarcity, then you will have those people, and it's okay to walk away from the people who are not ready. Go find the people who are ready to work with you. Set your boundaries and value yourself. You have to find the value in yourself and know that not everyone has the privilege of working with you. And that is okay. If, we give a lot of information for free. We give a lot of help for free. That's part of our job. But if you feel like those boundaries, people are ever overstepping those boundaries, it's okay to say, you know what, this is my business, this is my career, and I've given you a lot of free advice, and if you want more, then you need to invest in yourself and join my group. Stop giving all of your time to people who are taking all of your time. The other thing you need to figure out is who your avatar is. And I know that this has been talked about on multiple different trainings. It was reminded again at Platinum Edge that when you try to help everybody, you help nobody. And what happens is it shows up in your posting. Your posting becomes very vague because you're trying not to pinpoint a certain person. But when your posting is vague, you're not going to attract anyone because no one is going to relate to it. And so figure out who it is that you're trying to help. My avatar is really just women who feel they deserve better in their lives. It's pretty broad, but my story speaks to that. So when I share my story, I'm making sure that I'm really pinpointing those things. You need to post your story at least once a week. And I know you're going to feel like, oh my God, but I just posted this last week. First of all, make sure that you're sharing your story in different ways. Christine Dwyer talked about the fact that you don't have just one story. You have lots of little stories. So share a piece of your story at least once a week, and make sure that in your story, you're talking about things that you want to, like the people you want to attract in your life. So if I'm trying to attract people who feel they deserve better, or people who, you know, have that fire inside, or are trying to ignite that fight, then I'm going to talk about that in my story and how I got to that. And then the other reminder with business hours is you have to stop the back and forth momentum. And I have been guilty of this. You think, man, things are going great. I can kind of take my foot off the gas a little bit. No, you can't. No, you can't. You have to keep pushing and ride that momentum, because it's like in a car, if you're like back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, it's going to feel very jerky, and you're going to feel it in your business. Mm-hmm. Okay. I feel like I'm like speed talking. Next is your power hour. And I know that I've talked about my system. I'm going to talk about it again, not as in depth because I have videos about it, but if you have questions, obviously, you know, we can put that in the team page. But so the first thing I do is the 5-3-2. So I do 5 reconnects. I do 3 either challenge group invites or coach invites, and then 2 either challenge group invites or coach invites. It depends on whether you're focused on recruiting or whether you're focused on filling a challenge group. I kind of do whatever I feel like for the day, honestly. As long as I have 5 invites, it's kind of a mix and match for me. I've also heard people say, well, I didn't get any invites in today because I didn't have anyone to invite. I call bullshit on that. There is always, always, always someone to invite. And it may feel uncomfortable, but that's not about them. That's about you. If you're feeling uncomfortable, it's because you are not confident enough. And so when I say do your 5-3-2 5 days a week, 6 days a week, I mean do your 5-3-2 every single day that you are working your business. No excuses. No excuses. You can't say, I didn't get any invites today. If you didn't get any invites, then you're not done. You have not done your job for the day. So that's the first thing I do. I put my 5-3-2. Thank you, Emily, for making it a little more beautiful. I've used your tracker. So I pulled Emily's 5-3-2 tracker. I put it in a sheet protector, and I use a dry erase marker, and I just make this is my accountability to make sure that I have done my job for the day, to make sure that all of my stuff has been done. But I actually track it in a notebook. So when I do my 5 reconnects, so yesterday I started a new December list. I break it down by month. So I have my December reconnects, and then when I do business invites, I have a separate list for my December business invites. And then when I do my challenger invites, I have a separate list for my December challenger invites. So that's how I track. In addition to that, I took Carl's advice when I went to the Super Saturday, and I printed out the 3-a-day calendar. And this is something I'm going to continue into the new year. So it's kind of a double tracking. I do a tracking in my notebook and then on my calendar. The main reason I do the calendar is so that on my days off, when I'm doing it in advance, I make sure that I have my 3-a-day on my days off. So I'm doing it in advance. So I have my 3-a-day on my days off, so that I know that I'm not missing anything. I know that I have all of my bases covered. Let's see. And then adding to your network. That used to be an area where I really struggled until I heard Nikki Whiting's call a while ago on she adds friends of friends. And that's all she does. And she does click, 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 add, and then moves on. She doesn't message them. She adds them and she moves on. And then she lets them, once they accept, she lets them kind of watch her for a while. And then as you're going through your reconnects, you'll eventually cycle through and hit everyone, but they've at least seen kind of who you are, what you stand for, what you do. I pull my reconnects from my Facebook list, friends list that I have printed out. So there's no excuse of, well, I couldn't think of who to reconnect with today. You have your list. I go through and I'm like, who do I want to reconnect with today? And I pull a name. I go to their profile. I like some things. I see what's going on, and then I send them a message. Usually ask them a question about something I've seen on their profile, and then I highlight their name on my list so that I know that I've already reconnected with them. When I invite to my free group, so I've started switching it so that my free group every month is going to be a free 2-week bod challenge, because I wasn't getting the carryover from transitioning from a free group to a challenge group. I just felt like they weren't either seeing enough value in my clean eating group, or there was a disconnect somewhere. So I figure with doing a 2-week bod challenge, they're already in the system, they're connected to you as a customer, they see the value of the bod challenge, the programs. And then it's a lot easier, I think, once they've tried at least some sort of product, to transition them into, can you guys mute yourself if you're not muted? I can mute all. Hold on, guys. Sorry. All right. You guys are muted now. Thank you. All right. Sorry. So that's my plan. I haven't officially started it yet, but I saw that something wasn't working. So when you see something isn't working, you change it. And then what I do is from the calendar. So at the end of the month, or when I'm inviting to my free challenge, I go back to the calendar, and every single person who said no, I'm inviting them to my free group. And so it's a really easy way to keep them in the system, not let them fall through the cracks, and keep offering them that free value until they are ready to commit and invest in themselves. I also create an event for my challenge group and my sneak peek invites. So when I have a challenge group coming up, that's another thing. I send an invite from everyone who I've already reconnected with. That's where I'm pulling my invites from. And I send them an invite, but it's because I've already invited them through a personal message, then it's just kind of the whole, they have to see it 7 times before they commit. You've already talked to them in a private message, then you send them an invite to your challenge group for the event. And then when someone messages me and asks, oh, my internet, can you guys still hear me?
And she's muted. Unmute yourself, Anne.
Sorry, guys, it's snowing here, and I think that's affecting my internet. Okay. So when someone messages me asking about an event or about a challenge group, then I can refer them back to the event, so I'm not wasting my time with explaining the challenge group all over again. Everything is in the description of the event, and then if they're interested, then we can talk about their goals and a program. But it also puts the responsibility back on them to go to the invite, to read about it, and to decide if it's something that they think would be beneficial for them. So that's my power hour and kind of how I run my business. Then the invites, and I know Lauren really wanted me to talk about invites. So as I said, my reconnects I pull from my printed out Facebook list. And then I pull my invites from my reconnects and from people who have liked and commented on my posts. stop overthinking your invites. I know that we've all done it, and I know that a lot of you continue to do it. But remember that you can never say the right thing to the wrong person, and you can never say the wrong thing to the right person. And I've had people where I've built the relationship for 6 months and invited, and they've said no. And I've had people where I haven't built the relationship at all and invited, and they said yes. So you just have to invite. You just have to invite. So I have some examples that I'll post. I have them written out and I'll post in the file section, but some examples of how I invite. Get it so I can see it. Hey there, I'm starting to fill up spots for my January 21-day fitness group, and you crossed my mind since we just chatted the other day. Do you have any health goals you could use extra support with? Make sure that you're focusing on health goals and not weight loss goals, because everyone can benefit from health and fitness. And people also, if you focus on weight, then they think once I hit my goal, I don't need it anymore. And so just keep focusing on how they are feeling and their goals with that. Another example, hey there, I noticed you liked my post about X, Y, and Z. Coaching has 100% changed my life. The personal development and unconditional support from my team has been a game changer. Have you ever considered doing what I do? Like, all of my invites are very short and they're broad, so that you can really kind of send a generic invite and then figure out, do you want to go the coaching route with them, or do you want to go the challenger route with them? And then one last example, hey there, I saw your post about wanting more friends in your life. I know this might seem random, but I've been so fortunate to be surrounded by supportive, empowered, positive women. I'm always looking for others who could benefit from that kind of community. Have you ever considered doing what I do? I think if we focus more on the community aspect and the personal development and stray away from what they can gain financially, then you're going to attract more people who aren't money hungry and who don't quit when they don't make what they want right away. And then after you invite, you're going to get a yes or a no, right? So if they say no, I usually ask why, like, what about it aren't you interested in, or why do you think whatever? And then I just continue building the relationship. If they say yes, then I ask them about sending a webinar that I've done. I ask them, when can you watch it by? And then I set a follow-up time with a phone call. And I have not always been comfortable getting on the phone. I know. However, you cannot get across your passion for what this business does if they cannot hear it in your voice. You just cannot get that across in a Facebook message. And I've had much more success. First of all, it's going to show you who commits to getting on the phone with you. I've had lots of people who go MIA, and that shows me that they're just not ready. The ones who get on the phone and who are willing to talk to you, those are the people that you want because they're committed to it. So you have to do it, and then you just share your passion. And all you can do is share your story, ask them questions, and then go from there. The first one's not going to be perfect. It's just not. And each time you do it, it's going to get better and it's going to get easier. I know that a lot of us get that, well, what do you do? What do you do? We get that question all the time. And so, again, this is something I'll post. But I use Joelle's video, but I just write it in a short paragraph. So I say, there are 3 main things I do. 1, I work on myself physically and mentally through working out and personal development. 2, I help others achieve their health goals. And 3, I mentor coaches on my team to achieve their physical and financial goals. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in? Always end with a question, because if you don't, then the conversation is going to trail off. When I offer the coaching opportunity, I have started to stray away from the discount member, and I start offering a 30-day team trial, because we know that with a challenge pack, they can sign up for free as a coach. And so we also know how much value our team has to offer. Like, it's insane the amount of support that we have. And so many people don't have that positive group of friends in their life. And so it's also something that they can't feel until they feel it. They don't know what it's like until they experience it. And so I explain to them about our team. I ask them if they'd like to try our team free for 30 days, with the sign up. And then I tell them at the end of 30 days, you get to choose. You choose whether you want to continue as a coach with the discount, or if you want to continue as a customer paying full price. Well, it kind of seems like a no-brainer, right? Like most people, and this is a new thing, so I can't necessarily say exactly how it's worked out, but I think that if we can bring people in right away for them to try our team, and then you have to mentor. Like, you can't bring people on the team and then hope that they figure it out. You have to bring them in, and I'm not saying exhaust yourself. You're still going to see who your 20% are, but the people who you truly believe in, build that belief in them, because they've never had someone in their life building that belief in them. And so if you're constantly telling them, you can do it, I'm proud of you, stick with it, stick with it, stick with it, and you're constantly there to help guide and mentor and support, and if you have built that community in your team that does the same thing, then I think we're going to see a lot more success of coach retention. And then always, always, always offer the 30-day money-back guarantee. I've been doing that, and it's hard for people to say no to it. You know, and I explain, when I started, that was the only thing that got me to even try it, was knowing that if I didn't like it, if it felt like a scam, if I didn't like the products, anything, that I had 30 days to return it and get my money back and move on with my life. And then just remember, if you're inviting new invites all the time, you're not going to get yes right away. You're just not. People have to see and hear things about 7 times. So if you think about it, you have your new invite. They're going to see it through your posting and your story. They're going to see their friends doing it. They're going to see, if you have a challenge group set up where it's like you have some customers and some free customers and some people doing other things. If you have like an ongoing accountability group, they're going to see other people doing it. They're going to see it on the infomercials. And then as you follow up, if you follow up once or twice, there's your 7 times that they've seen it. So you have to be consistent with it, though. Those are my big bullet points. I made it through. I'm going to let Michelle say her piece, because I've been working really closely with Michelle and kind of going through some of these things with her too.
Well, first of all, can you hear the background noise? Because my neighbor's chopping trees, apparently. And so I just want to make sure y'all don't hear this chopper right outside my window. But yes, I'm going to call myself out. I've done it to my team. So if you're on my little initial team, then you've already seen this call out of myself. But for about 3 or 4 months, well, about 5 months really, since right before Summit, and then up into like the middle of September, I got complacent. I got comfortable with my day job. I work full-time in the mortgage industry. I also teach PIO and TurboKick. So I got complacent and comfortable with my actual day job, which shifted my mindset into thinking that I didn't need to be consistent. In that 3 to 4 to 5 month range, I lost a lot of momentum. I also had lost a lot of confidence. And when Ann talked in the very beginning about confidence, that is a key component of really staying consistent with your business. And the one way to gain consistency, or one way to gain confidence, is to stay consistent. So it's a cycle, really, because when you're consistent with your action steps, you have that, I'm going to go into like a chemical thing. When you have that consistency with your action steps, you have a serotonin release. And when you have a serotonin release, that is giving you that feeling of satisfaction, that feeling of, I did something good for myself today, I did something good for somebody else today. And that's the feeling that if you come back from an addiction background, that's what we chase. And so to gain that confidence, you want to get consistent with it. Well, I had been trying different systems, multiple different systems, since I started. I've tried different tracking with Asana. I spent $200 and got ACT. I had tried Google. I had tried every single thing to try and keep me consistent with it. I reached out to Ann because I was angry and I was frustrated. I was scared, and I was like, what the hell are you doing? oh, sorry, kids, what the heck are you doing? What is it that you are actually doing? Because something's not clicking with me. And so she told me. So from the middle of September, about the second week, well, between the first and second week of September, and then through October, I was very, very consistent in following her exact plan. I've got my 5-3-2 that I do here. I have it in my little thing. I also have my notebook with my stickies that I do. And I transfer, and I did everything in transfer as well. I also have a planner for my follow-up. So I'm copying her exact plan. And I hit Success Club for the first time in a long time. I had welcomed 2 to 3 new members to our team. And things were starting to look up. November hit, and I realized that a few things that I wasn't doing that I was doing them a month before. And I think it's very important for all of us when we're going through this and at the end of the month to reflect and see exactly what we were doing this month that was different from another month, whether you were more successful or less successful, and what you consider success. And I realized there was a few things that needed to be tweaking, or that I wasn't doing, or that I thought I was tracking properly, but I wasn't tracking as well as I was the month before. And so it's really important to make sure that, first of all, you are not so hard on yourself, and you don't tie your worth to the mistakes or the action steps of your business. Because once you do that, then you start to lose the confidence, and then you don't think that you can actually even do this anymore. So that's step 1. Step 2 is you need to sit down and be honest with yourself and real with yourself. What was it that I wasn't doing? The month of November, I was not tracking my follow-ups properly. I was not tracking the no's of my invites properly to add them and invite them to my free group. And I was not transferring all of my people from my sheet to my notebook. And this happened just a couple of days throughout the month. But it all added up. And because of those little minor things, that hindered it. So I didn't hit Success Club November. And again, that brings back into that cycle and that lack of confidence, because we all know that we are a Success Club driven business, and how we want, at least for me, and how I want to make sure that my team sees it, is that when we focus on saving lives, the 3 Lives Club, the 5 Lives Club, when we focus it on helping people, then it helps to keep our confidence back up to continue to move forward and through that lull. The biggest thing too is what I noticed was when I started to be consistent, I started to see immediate results. I hit Success Club 5 within like a week. I had 2 coaches sign within a week and a half. So it was like all of these things that started to happen, and then all of a sudden my income dipped. And my income got lower and lower. And that right there is where a lot of people tend to quit. And because they're doing it and they're like, oh, well, this doesn't work, so I'm going to change systems because this system doesn't work. But the biggest key that I did, and what Ann was pushing me through, and a lot of my other friends and my husband, was that you got to keep moving, because you got to go over that lull. This is where I was. And if I would have just stopped off, then I would not be able to move forward and actually keep going. So you and see my income start to rise again. So by pushing through that lull and staying consistent and reflecting and seeing exactly what you're doing, what was working, what was not working, that's how you're able to really gain your confidence, stay consistent, and actually start to see your business grow. And this system is duplicatable. It's extremely easy. I also, like I said, I work full time. I work my power hour, my main power hour in the morning. And then after work, I work another power hour because I want to quit my day job quickly. So I do it twice. And on days where I know I'm not going to be working, which I wasn't doing before I realized this, I wasn't covering for the invites on the days that I wasn't working. So I've noticed that. I noticed that that part of that consistency wasn't helping. Also, I wasn't reaching out to the people who liked and commented on my posts to invite them. I didn't think about that. So these are little things that these tips that Ann has talked about today, these are all game changers that add up. And I've seen it happen in my business, and I've seen it happen with Casey. Casey has been consistent with this 5-3-2 system since the very beginning, really since she started to see it with Ann before this, because I was kind of reluctant to do it because I thought I had this $200 system. I should be able to make $1 million in a year. And that didn't happen. And Casey's consistency has started to really shine through, but it's taken her a good 5 to 6 months to actually see the benefits of it. So
I want to pause for a second before we run out of time. I wanted the 5-3-2 for people who haven't started it yet. My game plan for doing it is you do your 5 reconnects and you do not respond when they respond until you have done your invites. So because people say like, oh, it takes longer than 30 minutes. No, you can do your 5-3-2 in 30 minutes if you are focused. So the game plan is do your 5 reconnects and then move on, pick your 3 invites and do those, move on, do your 2 invites, and then your 5-3-2 is done. Click, 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 add a few to your network, send some new messages, and boom, you're done. And then you can go back through and respond to messages and actually be focused. But your 5-3-2 has to be eat that frog is the first thing you have to do, and you just have to get through it in that 30 minutes and then have the rest of your power hour. Sorry.
No, I totally, I think the only reason why I really wanted to talk and kind of come up front with you guys and let you guys know where I've struggled is to kind of co-sign Ann and what she's talking about. I mean, we can hear things till we're blue in the face, but until we actually do it and stick with it and have that desire and that drive to do it, then it's not going to happen. But you have to make that choice to want to do it. And the system takes longer. That's why a lot of the passwords when you join and a lot of the other groups is be here in 1 year, because it does take time if you want this business to be legitimate and grow. And so, I've screwed up. I've been coaching for 2.5 years. I'm just now getting my diamond back. So this is something that works, and it's been working since I've started it. And it's pushing through that lull. So if you haven't been consistent and you start doing this system and you see things happen and then all of a sudden you see things drop, don't give up. That's where you have to keep going through. That's where you have to dig into your why. That's where you have to dig into, your purpose. That's where you have to dig into more personal development. You have to dig into training. You have to do all those things to keep yourself moving through that. But the system works. And I'm training all of my my team and my downline on it. And that's my cosign.
I know we have less than a minute. I will be available. I will post another link because I know that you guys probably have questions that you want answered, and I want to allow you guys, and I'm free. So after this, I'm going to post a link for another Zoom for anyone who wants to hop on for a question and answer session. I will definitely make myself available, and I will record it as well for anyone who's not able to hop on. So I'm going to stop this recording now, and then I'll post another link for Q&A.